At its best, Colorado works like a well-oiled machine. To understand how we got here, we've got to go back, way back. The earth cooled, the oceans formed, life began. Dinosaurs, yeah. Oh, here we go, the mountains formed. It got cold, it got warm. Finally, now we're getting somewhere. People arrived. The first Native Americans came in and carved their place in history. Later, the Spanish explorers came in and some settled down here too. Next thing you know, more people discovered Colorado's riches. Trading posts started popping up. Colorado was open for business. There were forts and settlements and the first town. And then we struck gold. That's when things really took off. The gold rush brought miners and traders and business and the lure of fortune in the Wild West. More and more people arrived here in Colorado. Denver was founded. The Rocky Mountain News hit the presses. Colorado became a territory. Homesteaders staked their claims. The railroads chugged into town, tying us all together. Turns out, though, what was good for some wasn't exactly good for everyone. All this change meant the near destruction of the Native American cultures. Settlements grew. Life went from rugged isolation and lawless outposts to communities built with the frontier spirit. Shacks gave way to houses. Muddy paths gave way to cobblestone streets. Neighborhoods popped up everywhere. General stores and churches, saloons and hoosegows, hotels and schools, all the things that make a community great. Shoot, by 1876, we'd grown up enough, they went ahead and made us a state. And you don't have a great state without a whole bunch of smart folks. Coloradans got that. Colorado School of Mines, University of Colorado, and the Colorado Agricultural College were all up and running by 1879. And over the next couple of decades, we went from a few one-room schoolhouses to a whole system of public schools across the state. We even got so cultured here in Colorado that they went and built a fancy opera house up there in Central City. Colorado was booming. Miners were mining the mountains. Steel was smelting in Pueblo. Farmers were plowing the plains. Sugar beets were growing near Grand Junction. Industry was popping up everywhere, and Colorado's population exploded. More people meant more business, more trade, more growth, more wealth. Heck, Colorado was even the second state to give women the right to vote. Now we're on a roll. Colorado was recognized as a healthy place to live. Want to treat your tuberculosis? Colorado's dry air was the place to do it. We even set up a state board to protect public health, because nothing says common good like a proper poop policy. Around this time, there were a lot of firsts here in Colorado. Mesa Verde became our state's first national park. The National Western Stock Show became a Colorado tradition. And somewhere along the way, our first car rolled into town. Soon after, we had a highway. Soon after that, we had a highway commission. All this sounds pretty good, but there were some bumps along the way. There was the Great Silver Crash of 1893. That stung. The miners' strike at Ludlow in 1914 resulted in a massacre. And then the Great Depression hit. Soon after that, the Dust Bowl tore across the plains. Unemployment soared. Families struggled to put food on the table. Farms blew away. Everyone was hurting. But our frontier spirit didn't break. We fought through the hard times. We kept looking forward. We built Red Rocks, the Denver Zoo, carved out a scenic drive along the Colorado National Monument. We opened community colleges across the state. Folks doubled down on Colorado's future. Heck, it was during the Depression voters approved the state's very first income tax. That money kept schools open and kids learning during the lean times. Then World War II broke out. Coloradans pulled together again to do our part. Fort Carson opened in Colorado Springs. The big steel mill down in Pueblo cranked up to make munitions for the war effort. And we built Camp Hale, where the 10th Mountain Division trained to fight in the rugged mountains of Italy. After the war, Colorado's economy was booming. Manufacturing took off. More Coloradans moved off the farms and into the city. College classrooms were busting at the seams thanks to the GI Bill. Colorado's first TV station began broadcasting. We became a hub for industry and technology as more and more people moved here for our mountains and sunshine. The Air Force Academy opened up. People hit the slopes at the brand new Vail Ski Resort. The Eisenhower Tunnel made getting through the mountains easier. Those investments made by the folks who came before us were really starting to pay off. Tourism in Colorado took off. We opened a shiny new state-of-the-art airport at DIA, complete with a welcoming demon horse. The Broncos were winning Super Bowls, the Rockies were hitting home runs, and the Avalanche were winning the Stanley Cup, all while Colorado was brewing itself up to be the beer capital of the United States of America. By the end of the 20th century, Colorado was one of the best places to live in the whole dang country. Why? Because through boom times and bust times, Coloradans took pride in our state. We invested in our future. Good people, dreaming big, planning ahead, building something for all of us.